New York Giants, let's go defense. Ballin'. New York Giants, fly high, you know this.
Hi, and welcome to the Colorado G-Men Show. Today we're going to preview the Giants' last game against the Eagles in 2018. The Giants will travel up down the turnpike to the Link in Philadelphia on Sunday morning, November 25th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Not surprisingly, the defending Super Bowl chumps are heavily favored by 5.5 points to be exact. The Eagles got embarrassed by the Saints last week, 48-7. That game was almost as fun to watch as the Giants' first winning streak since their last playoff season. The Eagles have been besting the Giants in recent memory. Since 2008, the Giants and Eagles have played 22 times, and the Giants have only emerged victorious 5 times out of those 22. Interestingly enough, home field advantage has played very little, as the Giants have won 3 of those 5 games at the Link. If the Eagles win this game, the rivalry record will be even at 86-86 with 2 ties. This feat has never been achieved by the Eagles in history. Thanks to the Giants' 2-game winning streak and the Eagles' 2-game slide, this game seems to have that juice that Giants fans have been missing over the last 2 seasons. Let's get started out when the Giants have the ball. For the injury report, the Eagles could be without their top 5 cornerbacks this week. Jalen Mills, Avonte Maddox, and Sidney Jones are out, and Ronald Darby is on IR. Rasul Douglas is questionable. Linebacker Jordan Hicks would have been one of the players to watch if he wasn't out. He's all over the field at number 6 in the NFL for combined tackles at 85. Other players to watch that are actually playing in the game: defensive end Michael Bennett has 5.5 sacks already this season. 2-time Pro Bowler Fletcher Cox gobbles up the run and has 4 sacks of his own. As for stats, the last 2 games not included, the Giants' offense has been atrocious. The Giants can, however, move the ball in the air. Fortunately, this is the weakest part for the Eagles' D. Unless Jamin Brown and Spencer Pulley can produce miracles and protect Eli against this front 4, I don't expect a high-scoring offensive output. The Eagles are tied for 29th in the NFL with only 7 takeaways. Some notes on our offense: Pat Shurmur has asked Saquon to stop being Saquon and follow his blocks. This paid handsome dividends last week against the Bucs. During the game, Shurmur said, "Now you're running like an NFL back." Let's see more of that, as it will help out the offensive line gel as a unit. Now let's talk about when Wentz is taking snaps. On the injury report, I was jockeying Win in earlier shows in the season, but if you watch the games with me, you know how much I love Kerry Wynn's play. He's like the John Starks of the team, bringing his lunch pail and putting in some heavy lifting. Unfortunately, the Giants will be out without his help against the Eagles. The injury report for Filthy is Darren Sproles will continue to dwell on the sidelines, which will be his 10th straight game this season on the sidelines. Players to watch: obviously quarterback Carson Wentz is 9th in the NFL for yards per game at 288, less than 10 yards more than Eli, who's 11th in the NFL. And tight end Zach Ertz. He's more of a humongous wide receiver than a tight end. He's 3rd in the NFL for receptions, 1st among tight ends with 77, and the number 2 tight end for yards per game. 27% of Eagles passes are thrown in his direction, and he's already got 5 touchdowns this season. Over 31% of red zone passes are thrown his way, and all 5 touchdowns have come in the red zone. For the stats breakdown, neither team is particularly special. The Eagles actually score fewer points per game than the Giants at 20.5. If you're curious, the Giants scored 21.5. The Eagles' O-line has given up more quarterback hits than the Giants at 74, ranking them 31st in the NFL. A very important note: the Eagles have only lost 1 game where they rushed for over 100 yards. That was an overtime loss to the Titans. So what are the keys to this game? The offense: will the O-line hold up against the Eagles' front 4? This will determine if Eli has time to dissect the coverage and allow Saquon Barkley to get his 20-plus carries. Both of these feats are achievable, as the Eagles have been given up 171 and 173 yards to Dallas and New Orleans, respectively, in the last 2 weeks. They slowed down the Jags' rushing attack, but gave up 121 yards to the Panthers and 147 yards to us in the 3 weeks prior to that. Eli has been sacked on 9% of his dropbacks this year. His career average is 4.8, and only 2 years previously has this percentage been over 6 and never over 7%. Eli's time to throw has been 2.63 seconds this season, 9th fastest in the NFL. Against Tampa, he was afforded 3.1 seconds. That's 18% more time and the 4th most time in the NFL last week. This explains his near-perfect game. This brings me to the next key to the game is get the ball downfield. The secondary is so banged up, and the Giants have way too many skilled possessions not to go down the field. On the defensive side of the ball, the keys are to continue with the pigskin larceny. The only two teams worse than the Eagles on the turnover ratio are San Fran and Tampa. That worked out pretty well for the Giants over the last 2 weeks. The Giants have been afforded opportunities over the last 2 games, and the Giants must take advantage of this. And the other key is stop the running game dead in its tracks. The Giants have only held opponents to less than 100 yards rushing twice this season. This will be the most challenging key to the game. And as we mentioned, the Eagles do not fare well when they do not gain at least 100 yards on the ground. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Colorado G-Men Show. We'll see you at the Tavern in Platt Park in Denver, the Lazy Dog in Boulder, and the Good Company Bar in Colorado Springs. Don't forget to subscribe and go Giants!